everybody, welcome back to Overtime. I'm Art Miles, and today we are finishing up our interview with David Martin. This is part 3. We're finishing up. We've been talking to him about his past, his current position. We've also started to talk a little bit about the news remixed, and then we got into talking about the Q. That's what we're going to start off with here. But before I do that, once again, thanks for all of the comments I've been getting online. I really appreciate it. We've got a lot of interviews coming up. We've got our very first entertainment reporter, Steve Ofield, who's going to be with us next week. We've got our very first news director, Bill Avery. And then after that, we have one of our first reporters, along with David Martin, Beth Sherman. When we last left off, we were talking about the Q and the difficulty in putting that show on the air.
It did take a lot of work, and we did, with the help of Casey Kennedy, who I'm sure you're going to interview.
Oh, sure.
He came up with the name title of The Q.
After a long period of time trying to figure out what the title was going to be, yes.
The C-U-E, The Q. And that we only did 6 weeks.
Six episodes? Yeah, 6 weeks, 6
They were
episodes. Yeah,
so
it was a test run.
labor intensive. And we included Jay Donovan, the radio host, as our third on-camera talent.
Who I believe now has her own Apple iTunes show that you can find. You just go to your iTunes and go to the different, you can search Jay Donovan, and there she is.
So with the three of us, there couldn't have been better chemistry among the three of us. What we suffered from was we had no support system to do that show.
It was all on
the three of us were all doing it by ourselves. And I remember they asked me, can you please put together a cost analysis? What might this cost to produce? And it was staggering. And they're like, no thanks.
And that's why we only did 6 episodes. Because, yeah, we couldn't have continued it ourselves. I was no longer editing for the news. I was only editing for this one. Was it a 30-minute show? It was only 30 minutes.
Show.
A 30-minute show a week, but it took me all week to edit it because I started adding things to it that weren't necessary, like a crawl at the bottom of the screen, or graphics, or sound effects. But that's what was kind of what made the remix great. We were trying to continue with that, but yeah, it's hard to put a price on how much that would have cost to put a show like that together. But whatever the number was, it was too much.
I did, and it was in the order of several 7 figures because we had to replace employees in the newsroom. We wanted to do this daily, I think, at one point. So, yes. Do you recall what you called when it aired?
What did I call it? Did you say?
The confident time slot of 11:30 at Friday night.
I think we actually used that somewhere, didn't we? In a promo. We did a promo, which I do have that somewhere, that only played in our office.
Hi everyone, welcome to the News Remixed. Wow, we have a studio audience?
Sort of.
That's what I get for missing the budget meeting. Anyhow, we're spinning your health. What's worse for you, a candy bar or a joint?
Nope. You're not spinning that. We've been commissioned to make a customized remix about the Q.
A corporate-ordered TV show that recently had a test run of 6 weeks in the no confidence time slot of Friday night at 11:30. I look at that show as a wonderful opportunity, but that was not something that,
local television stations do things like that.
No, and I would love to do more of that, maybe a game show type stuff, but there's no money. We have queued up these 6 local talkers for you. I-4 expansion, recreational weed, girls and their guns, Blake Bortles, Easter, and black bear mating. Now that's a rundown. Wow.
Don't run away. Instead, back off slowly. Wave your arms to let the animal know you're human.
That is solid advice.
Yeah.
To wave around like you're one of those inflatable things on the side of the road when there's a sale going on. A bear is just going to eat you and you're going to look stupid in the meanwhile.
So in the middle of all this excitement, the remix and the Q, just as the remix started to take off, I have to remind everyone that it was still just a part-time job to the job we already had. And you kind of transitioned into mornings where they really needed you to be kind of the man on the street person. And then that's when things really started to take off for you at Fox 35 for sure. And that's what I think you'll be most remembered for, is your time on Good Day Orlando.
Yeah, and it's not even man on the street, because when I hear that phrase, I think news. it's to me, I just do features. And it's not, and people say, hey, it's the entertainment reporter. I don't do that either. I'm not a red carpet guy or a celebrity dude. True. It's really, today it's a collection of amazing places to visit, go experience, new attractions, new restaurants and bars, amazing people doing small businesses. It's probably the most rewarding job I've had at Fox 35 because it touches so many lives. And we brand it right now, our current branding for it is We Love Florida. And I love that because that is what it is. These are reasons we love our state and our people. And you can really mold any live shot feature you do into that category.
And that's another aspect of it. The live shot aspect of it is amazing. And I can think of the first example of when you were able to go live without being hooked up or tethered to any wires. It was when the Sunrail opened up, I believe. And you and Paolo were on the Sunrail traveling down the road live on television. And I don't know if anybody understood how amazing that was.
Yeah, and we were all, this is true. They put all the media in one car, in one rail car. So we were forced to broadcast live with Channel 9, Channel 6, Channel 2, and that's all we had in the car. So what did they do when they broadcasted live? They pretended we weren't there. What did I do?
You interviewed him. I think you stuck your mic out and talked to somebody.
We put them all in the air, and I thought this was so funny. Let's put Channel 9 on TV. Because the story for me was there's a media car traveling down this train track.
That's the greatness of David Martin, finding the true story there, and none of the other stations would have done that, and that's what's great about you, that you would think to do that and include others and not make it just about you and your story. You're like, this is also going on around me. You should really see what's going on behind the cameras. That was great.
Channel 2 and Channel 9 were very fun, and they loved it. We had a great time, but I did hear, I'm not sure how true this is, but I did hear that some manager at Channel 6 said, don't let him put you on the air again on Fox.
Because in some ways we're the enemy, aren't we? We're all competing with each other.
As one former boss told me, oh, the Devil Network?
Yeah. That's the way some of them, they think that way. I mean, in sales and marketing and all that those are the enemies. You can't just have conversations with the enemy like that. But then you're thinking, well, we're all jammed in the same car together. I can't not say something to them.
And we're friends.
That's right. That's right. It's a small community, really. Everybody knows everybody, don't they?
We do, and we're all big supporters of each other.
Yes, and that photographer over there used to work at this station over there, and now he works with us, and now he's back over there again, and there's many stories like that.
I would not change that morning. I thought that morning was pitch perfect. I loved it.
And I don't know if people at home realized it, how amazing it was. It's not like there was somebody running alongside the train with an XLR cable. No, you were wireless and live on the air, and I don't think anybody back then understood how amazing that was.
No. And to think that I started at the station when we had no live trucks, and now I can broadcast live from planes, trains, and submarines.
I know. It makes it seem like you started working there 100 years ago. But, it wasn't that long ago. The technology has advanced so much since then.
And now we're shooting a lot of stories on these cell phones,
Yeah. Well, I don't want to keep it. I'm pretty sure we've only been talking for 5 or 10 minutes. Was there anything from your childhood that you can point to and say, yes, this makes sense that I got into journalism?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I'm glad you asked that. I don't ever get asked that question. Yes, I grew up in Ohio. And my mom always had a TV show on in the morning, a local Cleveland magazine show in the morning. I wish I recalled the name of it. It's a legend show, and it's probably still on the air. And I watched it every morning, and I just loved the way these three people sat on the couch and did the news and talked about their local events, did the cooking segments, the entertaining, the musical acts that came into town. So I grew up with it, and I just loved it. I loved that, and then I kind of matured into the Charlie Gibson Good Morning America era. I liked watching him. My all-time favorite news anchor was Peter Jennings. And a lot of them were so good at it, they weren't reading the news to you, they were talking to you.
One of your co-anchors, Amy Caulfield, I always say that about her. It always, and because I've talked about it with my students in middle school, it's if you can watch them at home and it doesn't sound like they're reading, they're actually talking to you, then that's the sign of a great journalist right there, a great on-air personality. They're talking to you, they're not reading to you.
Yeah.
And I guess
Shepard
that's what you
Smith,
experienced.
At Fox for a long time, we had Shepard Smith on the air at the News Channel. I always liked
I
to
wasn't
look
even
up
sure
to
if he
him.
had a prompter or not. He was so good at it,
Exactly. The guy was legendary at just telling a story. And so my influences were definitely the Cleveland morning shows from the late 70s, early 80s, Charlie Gibson, Peter Jennings, Shep Smith. And today, well, I don't know. Today I'm.
Yeah, I don't know today because you've surpassed all of the ones that are out there today. The younger ones, and there's a young David Martin out there in Central Florida watching you every morning. And you know what? I say that almost. It sounds like I'm joking, but I'm not, because I know students who I go to school with and past students of mine who actually know who David Martin is because they do watch you. And of all the things that go on in the news in a 4 or 5 or 6 hour morning show, sometimes the only good news is what they see coming from you and your story, and those are the things that they remember.
I'm shocked today to meet people. The Good Day Orlando morning show feature spot that I do has been, without doubt, the most influential gig that I've had at Fox and in my career, because and my boss is very good at reminding me of this. I reach children all the way up to our seniors. The kids love the shout out we do at 8 o'clock in the morning. You're watching the 8 o'clock hour of Good Day Orlando. We do something kind of fun and crazy, and they all want to know, where's he going to be today?
Right.
And
is he going to be at Comic-Con? Is he going to be at Disney World? Is he going to be eating food at Epcot? Is he going to be breaking his leg somewhere? We don't know. That's what's great about David Martin.
Yeah. And when we go and we do meet and greets, we get a lot of moms and dads that want to come up and shake our hands and say hi to us. But the kids are just as fascinated. They're like, "Hey, we watch you every morning." And I'm like, "Really? You're 9."
Yeah. But this is what David Martin needs to realize. You're kind of a big deal here. You're kind of a big deal here in Central Florida, and 25 years under your belt, which means, doing some simple math, you've worked here half your life now, not just as a journalist and not just in the field. You've worked here for half your life now, and how does that feel to you? Do you see something in the distance, in the horizon? You like what you're doing now? What are your thoughts now about the future?
You're a good interviewer, Art, because you've arced the timeline perfectly. I will turn 50 in January, and you start thinking about, well, okay, I've raised 2 wonderful children here in Central Florida, with the majority of help from my wife, of course. And so they're aging out, where my son will be out of the house on his own eventually, in the next couple of years, I'm sure, and my daughter will be going to college in a few years. What's that leave me and Nina, my wife, to do?
And you've compiled yourself such an incredible Rolodex of people that you've met. Many opportunities are out there for you, I'm sure, but you need to kind of decide what that's going to be.
To me, I've crafted the perfect television job. I can't go to another TV station and have what I have here because of the years of experience. And I wouldn't want to.
You'd have years of experience, but you'd also be starting over. But you don't. There's no reason to do that.
Yeah, I love the roots I've created here. I love the management at this operation. They're so trusting. They're like, whatever you want to do in the morning, just run it by us, and we're pretty much on board with,
you are a relief to them, because that's the part of the show they don't have to worry about.
Sure.
I've seen that from when I worked there, when I would be on headset and we listen to what's going on behind the scenes. There was always that relief of like, okay, here comes a nice 5-minute segment with David Martin. I don't need to be concerned about what it's going to be. I know it's going to be entertaining, and that's what's great about David Martin at Fox 35.
I will say the reality is, the bottom line is, they're gonna have to kick me out. Because I don't see a path where in this industry I could have a neater, more rewarding job, and I don't do it for myself. That's what's great about this gig. To me, it's so much about, can I help somebody? I love giving exposure to a small business or to a person who needs help or to a cool location or attraction you may never have heard of that you can go take your family and friends to. It's so fun, and it's never ending.
It is fun, but not to be confused, there is a lot of hard work that goes with it because you kind of are your own producer as well. You're in charge of putting all these segments together, tracking these people down, making the phone calls. I mean, perhaps you have some help back at the station with a planning producer to say, oh, this is happening or that is happening, but for the most part, you've built up a Rolodex of 25 years of people and places and events that you're in charge of your own segments.
That's the question we get the most. How do you come up with all of your locations daily? And it's a mixture of viewer tips, public relation professionals. Paolo and I are driving down the street and, hey, that looks exciting. Let's go check that place out. And it's random.
So you are your own producer.
Yeah, and
I hope you put that on your resume as well, that you are a producer.
Yeah. And with the help of our boss, I run everything by her, and we have a game we play. I tell her, love it, hate it, maybe. And she, in a casual way, she'll say, love it, nah, let's not do that one, hate this one. And then we kind of we mold the week, and then we not everyone is a winner, for a variety of reasons, and that's okay. Mm-hmm. But the majority are.
Yeah. And a lot of that gets all fixed when it's happening live as well. I just think of there's so many moving parts to what you do that people don't get to see. There have been occasions where I got to go watch you, and Paolo is the cameraman, but I would get to stand behind him and see all the moving parts of a segment where you go to Epcot during Food and Wine, and you're not going to just talk to one chef and one piece of food here he's going to show you. You are rotating and moving around, and you're good at remembering the names, too, of people. I don't know how you do that. But there'll be segments where, all right, Paolo is here, and now you swing over here, and now we're going to go look at this chef over here who's talking about this, and then back over here, and then somebody's in your ear telling you, okay, it's time to wrap it up, and you do it all very seamlessly. And it is for that reason that I think people should recognize that 25 years of excellence with David Martin has been very hard-earned 25 years.
Thank you, my friend. It's been a blast. And it's going to continue to be a blast because I ain't going anywhere.
Very good. Now, one quick thing. As I continue to do these interviews, this is so out of left field, but I'm putting together a song playlist of songs that you love to listen to while you're sitting in a hammock. So I'm going to come back to your answer on that just at the end here real quick. Think about that song, because I'm going to put together a playlist of everybody's favorite hammock songs. But I just wanted to talk about just one other thing before we go. When you're on Good Day Orlando and you have a segment that's not going well for you, where you're not getting what you want from someone, this is when David Martin really gets to become David Martin. What's that like for you?
We call that tap dancing in our industry. And there's a director at our station who's not afraid to get into my ear and tell me, this ain't going well.
Yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about. We'll get him on the show possibly too,
good.
For sure.
That's when we have the freedom to shorten up the segment. If I sense it's not going well, and thankfully we haven't had many of those. I mean, I'm not sure.
No, you haven't, but there have been occasions where I'm getting ready for work in the morning, and I've got you turned on, and you've got this big, long setup, and you ask a question, and you get a one-word answer, and then I'm like, uh-oh. And then I'll quickly text you after your segment, but it happens sometimes, right, where you've got to carry the segment, you have to ask the questions, and sometimes answer the questions.
Sometimes people talk too much, sometimes people talk too little. And sometimes they'll say downright things they're not allowed to say. We've had it all.
Yes, you've had some great segments. Well, is there anything that we can look forward to that you're doing in the near future? I know you just had your year in review that people can find on Fox 35's page, as well as your Facebook page, I believe. Your year in review of all your favorite things that you did for the year. That's something that we can find on Facebook. Yes. And it's going to be airing, has it at the time that this airs? Yes, it is aired, but people can also find that online as well.
Yeah, people like to know what I covered in it because it airs on times when our audience is probably doing something else, like Christmas morning. They're opening gifts. I imagine they're not watching the news. But I was shocked at the number of people who were watching the show saying, is this going to be on again or is it online? So we're getting it online for sure.
I'm looking ahead to what I know is coming up this year in the year 2023, and I know one of the big things has been a long time coming that you'll be there for, I'm sure, on opening day will be the Tron ride at Magic Kingdom at Disney World. I just don't know when that is yet. They've been working on that. It took them longer to get this going than it did to actually build the Magic Kingdom in the 60s. It just took a long time. But I've seen now that the ride is underway and they've been testing it, and I imagine, like when Star Wars opened or when Harry Potter opened, you might possibly see some of the stars or celebrities from those movies show up for the ribbon cutting. I imagine that's a possibility, and you'll be right there.
Yep, Tron is on our list for sure in 2023. We have a new, we have the Super Bowl in Phoenix. We'll be out there for that.
Yeah, you're going, aren't you? Yes.
I like that when they're on Fox. It's always better when they're on Fox.
Oh, absolutely. Because you get to go.
And last year we did the cruise for Disney. We did the
Oh, you went on the Wish.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, my daughters went on that just a few weeks after you did that, and you were out there, you had the GoPro, and you were going down the slide, and all the different shows, and the food, and it's just, that's I'm sure one of the perks of being David Martin is getting to do things like that.
The position certainly has that perks. I think anybody who'd be in my position at Fox 35 would have that luxury to do those amazing things. But yeah, it's fun, and so we always have those big events that are that get on the calendar early. But there are little things that are coming up in 23 that I'm excited about too. And I think I know that our current leadership is big into field shows, and I love that because that's my strength. You know, I don't use teleprompters. I just get out there and talk and show you what's going on. So I'm hoping that we can expand our roles as field people into something bigger, and maybe longer shows or separate shows that could air.
I recall some great field shows that you were a part of. You were there for the grand opening of Legoland, driving around in the little Lego cars and all that, all live on the air. They used to do segments where they visited colleges and did the actual show from the college campuses. Of course, there's NASCAR always. Daytona 500 is a big thing that you do every year.
You're absolutely right. So my calendar's already half booked, it seems, for the next year. But there's never a dull day in Orlando, in Central Florida.
Oh, that's very good. Okay, I've been waiting to say this. You ready? David, you've said it all. That's what Howard always says. He loves to say, you've said it all, which means it's time to wrap up and let you go. Because you've been talking to us for way too long. You're very generous with your time.
If anybody makes it to the end of this, I'll be shocked. But thank you for watching.
How dare you? How dare that? Don't worry, I'll cut it down to 3 minutes. It'll be fine. So yeah, I'm compiling of all the people I interview. I'd just like to know, if you were sitting in a hammock somewhere on vacation, what are one or two songs that would be on your playlist? And I'm going to add them to my playlist.
How about this one? I love this song. Very good. I have an instrumental one. And a lyrical one. You want lyrics? Or do you want instrumentals?
You going to make me guess? Are you going to sing it? What are you saying? You go ahead.
Which one do you prefer?
No. I prefer both. Some of my favorite songs are instrumental songs. So yeah, please give us your two choices. That's fine.
I think I really love the lyrics of "That's the Way of the World" by Earth, Wind and Fire.
Oh, very good. I could see easing into a hammock listening to that. That's a great choice.
Yeah, that one is sort of my, when I need to take a deep breath and just accept things the way they are. You know, that's the tune that I go to. And I like, maybe it's a little corny, but "Your Smiling Face" by James
Taylor?
James Taylor, thank you.
Yes, James Taylor. Very good. No, there's nothing wrong with that. Whatever it relaxes you while you're sitting in your hammock. Absolutely, James Taylor. That's an excellent choice. So I'm going to start to compile a list, and maybe I'll send that when I interview a bunch of these people who all deserve a little relaxation in their lives from working in television for so long. I'll put together a list of all of these songs, and perhaps we'll make ourselves a famous playlist that people can enjoy. Well, I'm really glad you spent this time with me. This is our first of many episodes dealing with the anniversary of Fox 35 News. I suppose we can revisit again in 10 years when it's 35 and 35, and I'm sure you'll still be there.
I hope so.
And no, you could retire at this point, right? Everything's cool at home, right? You know, everything's good at home. You could retire if you wanted to. Well, he's not answering. That's okay. All right, 10 years. I'll see you for 35 for 35. Then I suppose in 10 years. But maybe perhaps I will get you and a group of others to do a group episode where we all watch the first broadcast of Fox 35 News from 25 years ago.
I'm totally on board with that. I love that.
All right. All right, that's one. All right, I got one person. Hopefully in my next few episodes here, we're going to try and track down Joanne Bauer. I'm going to try and contact Beth Sherman. All these people I'm friends with on Facebook with, but I just shouting out a bunch of names that just come off the top of my head. Of course, there's David Martin. It is the first one I wanted to interview. Joanne Bauer, Bill Avery, our old boss, Donald and Janice Jones, Ann Craig, Randy Roush, Beth Sherman, Marissa Tejada, Bill Cook, Matt Grubbs, Eric Klinkscales, who is still with you as a photojournalist. His wife Jennifer Graham, Scott Burge, our first sports reporter, and then soon after was Penn Holderness. We've all heard about him, of course. Beth Cocciarella, Shannon Butler, Steve Oldfield, who did a lot of our entertainment stories. Brad Stevens, our second anchor to come in with Joanne, Melissa Rayberger. I mean, there's so many. If you ever looked at your Facebook friends to see how many of them are actually former coworkers of yours, you easily have 100 or more that you used to work with.
Yeah, and there are so many good people who aren't on camera that make this all happen.
Oh, absolutely. There's a lot of great stories from our original producers and our news director, of course. You know, they could tell great stories about putting the show on, but also building the station that was from 1998. Well, David, I will not keep you any longer. You've said it all. But we appreciate you spending time with us, and look for another episode next week with another Fox 35 News past, present, current journalist. We will see. Thank you very much, David.
Thank you, Art. Great to see you, buddy.
That's all for now, everyone. Thanks for watching. Look for us again next week as we count down to the 25th anniversary of Fox 35 News. I'm looking forward to it. I've got a lot of people to reflect back and talk about the good old days with. Thanks for the drone footage, Walter.